Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel for those of you that are joining me again. And welcome to my channel for those of you joining for the first time. Tonight, I am going to be manifesting, which means Sister Mernerva is coming out. Otherwise, most of you know me as Bellefeuille Siren or just Sister Mernerva. So when I manifest as a Sister of Perpetual Indulgence, I use Mayron Clown White Light. Every sister has their favorite brand of, well, I shouldn't say favorite, preferred brand of white base for their divine sacred clown face. I like to apply mine with a brush. I use the MAC 123 brush. It has two different sides to it. I coat both sides because one side is more for blending and the other side is more for application. I honestly don't remember which side is what, but I use both sides. And I just go in rather heavily and sort of map out different areas first. So I like to go ahead and brush across my brow bone, regardless if I have brows or not at the time. Most sisters usually glue theirs down if they have brows on beforehand. Me, on the other hand, I don't. Even when I had them, it's either I shave them off because I'm angry at them or I just don't worry about it. Tonight, I am manifesting for the Studio 62 parking lot drag show. I am going to show some audience support for the community so that way I can mingle with the community, as well as enjoy watching the show, tip the entertainers, occasionally go up to the table where they're selling soda to help support the club. So that way the club is getting some sort of income because they unfortunately are not open for indoor business yet. So they've been doing like these little parking lot shows since things have reopened back up. So I have got my beach towel ready to go be put in the car for tonight's show so that way I can pop a squat on the curb out back of the club because that's where the performance is happening. And for them, queens, to be able to perform on loose terrain in heels is somewhat difficult. So hats off to them. Right now I'm just being kind of messy with my application, as you can see. I will go back in here in a little bit and I will buff it out a little bit more with the brush as well as a beauty blender. When I go in with the beauty blender for it, I do it dry I haven't tried it wet yet because I'm afraid that if I try it wet, it's just going to push the cream around. And as you can see, a lot of times I wait till last to do my nose. So that way I can scratch my nose, all that jazz, or in case I need to go blow my nose. And when I do this makeup, it's great to have a handheld mirror accessible because you want to check your see-through factor on your white makeup. Just because you don't want to see any pink. This doesn't quite blend out. Actually, I don't know why I said that. It doesn't blend out the same way that the makeup that you're used to blends out. Now I will go in here later and I will clean up my lines on my jawline because I get a little particular about that. Right, and we're just gonna sit this either on top of the container that it came out or the lid, because depending on how coated that is, it can make a pretty big mess if you are using it for the first time and aren't as experienced with white face makeup. And I also have different brushes that I use for my white because of color factor. Because I use the super white setting powder for it. And so my makeup brush that I use to apply my base with, I do not use it for any other base because I want it only for that purpose. And I do punch this up into my hairline, even though my habit will be covering a good chunk of that hairline space. Or for those of you that are not a sister and want to do a white face for your queen look or cosplay, your wig will cover that up. Even though I did not apply any on my nose yet, I'm still buffing that up onto my nose, and I will go in and I will apply to my nose shortly. While I am buffing this, I am looking to see if I have any buff marks from the Beauty Blender when I am doing this, because I do not want to see those lines on there. And I am not smearing around, I am patting. For some of you that have a little bit more oilier skin than usual. If you push it around instead of pat, it's going to be problematic for you. I'll just sit that down inside my cream. Somehow, a random hair has gotten on my face. I'm like, I can't be having that happen. All right. So I'm just going to sit this used beauty blender in my beauty blender container. And I always like to keep a few towels handy for when I do this makeup because it can get rather messy, as I have said multiple times. So I have one actually over here in my makeup box that you cannot see. I have a washcloth there, and then I've got a bag of makeup wipes just to the right of me because you will see me a few times at different points wipe my hands with those because I don't, when I start going to do my color, I do not want any white to get on my brushes because I'm weird, as well as just mainly dirty up my brushes, but also just so I can feel like I'm working a little bit more cleanly. All right, now at this point, since I have basically buffed everything out, I will still push around a bit here and there, but I will also do a lot of patting. I like to go back in and make sure my forehead is heavily covered. And then I go in and I just pat more on my cheeks because I'm all going to go back in again with that beauty blender. We'll keep this open and close by in case it is needed again. All right, I'm going to use my handy mirror. With this particular type of makeup, a lot of Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence will tell you that you do not want to put a moisturizer on before applying your white face makeup, because of the fact that the bulk of this is an oil base makeup. So my recommendation, if you feel the need to want to have a moisturizer on under this, make sure your moisturizer has been applied when you go to work, when you're going to be painting hours later, like I did today. I had me an 8-hour day at work today, and I had applied my moisturizer after shaving, did my regular skincare routine. Now, some people, when they do white face, they like to go all the way down their neck. I personally don't. I like to do something a little bit more along the lines of Sister Roma when it comes to where my line stops for where my makeup ends. And I go right under my jawline. Sister Roma doesn't quite go down as far as I do, I think. But everybody has their own style. There's no wrong way to go about it. Makeup wipe, as I was talking about. As you can see, I have some on my ears. I'm not going to worry about that just yet. We'll go back in after I have set my face. I am going to go ahead and wipe this off just so I can close up my Clown White Light. And I think I'll go ahead and leave that covered just to protect it from getting any super white setting powder on there. Some people like to use a puff, which you can keep right inside. Mine's rather old, so I think I'm going to skip the puff and go in with a brush instead, which this is where it can be a little messy. So you might want to close your makeup box if it's open, like I just did. And I just realized I have some areas that I like to highlight. So before I set with that, I am going to attempt to pull this sticker off of my highlight. I'm going to be angry if I can't get it peeled off. Oh, Ben Nye Lumiere Ultra Bright is this color that I am about to put on. These are awesome. They come in several different colors. And I will tell you that the little coverings that they put on the sifters are clear. I hate that. I'm finding that the more I play in makeup, different brands have their different ways of sealing stuff, and sometimes it is a big pain in your everything. So we will just sift a little bit of that right into that pan there. Better move that back. I'm afraid I'm going to drop it on the floor. I like to take a foundation brush, a flat foundation brush for this. It's a buff brush from Prescriptives. This sucker is old. I love it. It's probably like a good 18, 19 years old, as long as I've been doing hair. So I just go in there and gently make sure I get the whole flat surface of this guy coated, or the bulk of the circumference of the flat portion of this. I like to go down. Actually, we'll do it close up, so I'm going to get in your face. I like to go down the bridge of the nose, right on the top, and a little bit on the tip, just the tip. All right, so we got that. And I like to do the area of my forehead that I would typically put highlight. This stuff loves to float around the room. For those of you that have never played with the Luminaire powders from bin 9, this stuff is amazing. It sparkles like diamonds. When doing the white face, the Ultra Bright is, I want to say it's a translucent powder with micro glitter in it, and so it is great for those highlight areas. Just sift a little bit out again, being careful not to get it on my brushes that are exposed. All right, we are going to carefully put this around the back side of the mirror and try not to make a mess about it. And then I've got this 242 brush from MAC. It's great for shadows that are cream based. I'm going to just go right on top of my nose again. A nice little flat stripe. And then dip in there again. Pat the Cupid's bow. I like to get that little pocket that it has right there. And we will most likely come back to those spots and touch it up again after we contour and blush. And gosh, that is just floating all over the room. There. All right. And I am gonna scoosh my mirror away because I don't want to have to work on really heavily cleaning that. All right, I am going in with, my Sebastian powder brush. It just says Sebastian Powder 75.99 brush. And I am going to work across my forehead. Woohoo! This stuff floats around the room so much. So it's like, don't breathe. And we'll just tuck that back there. See what I mean by messy? And I got a little bit on my chest muscle there. All right, so now I am going to take my buff powder puff, and I am just going to pat a dab right under that eye. This is your safety powder. You don't want to brush across your face like this or like that, with the possibility of removing your face. So keep that in mind. Nice small pats. Don't be afraid to take your time. So as you can see, I have this towel in here. It is starting to get covered with powder. So keep it handy to grab at different times. I am now going to go in with some color. So because of that, I am grabbing a makeup wipe, just because I don't want the white powder getting into my color when I go to put it on my brush. It does change the color, so keep in mind laws of color. What happens to red when you put it on white? It turns pink. So keep that philosophy that whatever you put on white, it is going to be lighter, so you have to keep layering sometimes. Sometimes they come out just perfect, so keep that in mind, that you will have some of that problematic issues. You'll see me do a lot of cleaning in this video, by the way. All right. I am going to do my typical favorite look that I tend to do a lot with, which is usually a lot of greens. So again, I'm going in with Midnight Lumiere. We are using color Mermaid Green, LX9. So I am going to use this Jeffree Star JS20 brush. It's the chiseled blush. And instead of pouring into the pan this time, or the lid, I'm just gonna dip right on top of the sifter. All right. And I think I'm gonna dig my mirror back out again. So sorry for the dipping in and out of the video situation there. I'm being a little brave with my contour on my nose today. I always contour with color when it comes to sister makeup, but I can't believe that I just went in with this brush to do it on my nose. Typically, I use a smaller brush, but not today. Alright, I tend to get a little bit more serious business, I guess, when I apply this portion of my head, so I may not be doing as much talking as I would typically do, just because of the fact that I'm working with the loose powder for this. All right, I think I'm going to leave that alone now. So I also contour really differently, not just because of the color, but I contour differently when it comes to my sister makeup, just because I'm going for a different appearance. I don't know why I'm really worried about this section on my contouring down here, because I will most likely take that off with the makeup wipe later, but whatever. And we're done with the green, just like that. All right. Now it's time for color on the lids. I guess I didn't hairspray my hair back enough, but that is quite all right. And we'll just move that nice little protective covering away over there. All right. I am going to start off with a very light color. I am going to go in with color Welcome from the Morphe Jeffree Star palette that you can get at Ulta. At least I take that back. We're going in with rolls with it, because that one looks a little bit more green. And I am just going to walk that up from where my nose contour is. Up onto that brow bone there with a nice little curve there. Across the brow line into that forehead contour. Oh, that's looking really pretty so far. Just fade that down into that. All right, I'm gonna wipe that off on my towel just because that took some of that green off that I don't want. We're just gonna kind of gently do some soft blending here. I will probably go back in with my mermaid green right there, just to chisel out the nose a bit more. All right, I'm just gonna sit this little brush off to the side here. All right. I'm going to go in with the JS6, and we are going to do color Glam Rapids, which is another glittery green shade. And we are just marrying that up onto that brow bone right in front of that nose well cusp section there. Loving it. All right. All right. Ooh, decisions. All right, I think we will go in with the JS8, and we will put in Wake and Bake. It's kind of a chartreuse, borderline Greek olive green. And I'm just going to hit that crease section there. A little bit of fallout, but it's on my brush. Oh, that is just blending out beautifully. All right. All right, we will go in with color Nate, which is this beautiful bright green color here, and we are going to go in with the JS9. And just get a nice little pat going on there. And I want a nice clean line with that, so I am going to whip out my hard flat surface. This is actually a flat pan that you use to mix foundations on. But you can use a business card or a postcard. I really want to wing that out, so I'm going to wing that out into my green contour. Oh, beautiful. All right, nice little coating again. I feel like that's going to be the color that I run out of first in that palette. I feel like I'm better at my sister makeup on myself than I am my natural skin tone makeup. I feel like that's a little personally messed up. back in because it looks like I got some color in a spot that I don't want. Boo. It is quite all right, though. Quite all right. Just looking in the mirror to see if there's anything I might want to add on my eyes again, which it doesn't look I do. All right, so we are going to go in with a little compact brush. I'm going to use my Morphe Jeffree Star JS13. And I am going to use color called Drive Through. And I am going to just do a nice little smoke underneath my lash line there. Nice little faint color, just for a little soft pop. Alrighty. Woo. And then I want to add a little bit more something in my tear duct area there. So I'm going to go in with this flat brush, the JS11, and we are going to go in with Millions, which is a little bit more of a softer color. And I'm just going to pack it in these corners here. Just to add a little bit more oomph to my look. Looks like I'm not gonna have identical twins tonight, which is totally fine. Let's just attempt to get a little right there. We'll see how successful I am with that. There we go. A little something, something. I just realized that I shut my palette and didn't put my protective screen on there. But that is all right, because we'll just open it back up and put it on there. So there's that. All right, we're gonna go back in with the mermaid green. And I'm gonna go in with my contour brush. In this case, it's the Jeffree Morphe Star JS3. And I'm just going to pat. And before I go in there, I am going to gently brush that up into my makeup there, just to accentuate that a little bit more. All right. And then I am going to pull out my Lumiere powder again. But this time, when I go back in with that flat brush that I used for it, not the buff, but the MAC 242, I'm going to dip it in some water, and I am going to coat my brush, and I am going to just swipe it down my nose. All right. So I've done that. And then there should still be some on my buff brush that I used earlier also. I am just going to pat along that and then go back up in that round of my forehead, because I like that to be screaming hello. All right. I didn't hairspray my hair as well, I suppose. All right. So now I am going to go in with my mascara while I still have my safety powder on. I am loving this mascara. It is the L'Oreal Bambi mascara. I know it's one of the cheaper mascaras, but Mama's not ready to fork out the big bucks for the $25 stuff. But I'm gonna have to here soon, because this particular one is not waterproof, and I need waterproof for when I do my mermaid stuff. And I can't be having mascara come off underwater. Alrighty. Let's glue some eyelashes on this business. Make sure my powder is in there. Oh, that's the wrong lid. I done put the wrong lid up on there. Alright. I'm weird. Alright. Before I move on to my eyelashes, one thing I want to do is I want to go ahead. No, I'm not going to do that just yet. I thought I was, but I'm not. Actually, no, I'm not going to do what I thought it was. All right, let's go ahead and dust off that safety powder. We are also going to do a little bit of veiling on that chin contour, as well as that. All right, and before we go in and set the powder, we are going to put some more highlight on, but we are going to use a different highlighter for the cheeks. We are going to go in with Jeffree Star Mint Condition, which I've been curious to see how this is going to look with my sister makeup. All right, I may go back in with this momentarily, but as of right now, we are going to move on to move some of these brushes that I didn't use out of the way. We are going to move on to eyelashes. Eyelashes, eyelashes. Yes, yes, yes. All right, and get the glue ready. All right. You know what? I'm going to do a different pair of eyelashes. I don't want to mess with those right now. I love these. They are 301s. I like to say that they are barn doors, and they are fabulous and amazing. If you want a Say Something eyelash, these are the ones that you want to have, honey. And oh boy, are they a Say Something eyelash. Grab a Q-tip and grab my little pushy thing. Let it dry just a little bit. Oh my gosh, that is looking awesome. Okay, where did I put? There it is. Ha ha ha. This is some serious business when you are putting on eyelashes. It is something. Some people use just flat up, straight up tweezers. Some people don't use tweezers at all, which I used to do that. Not use tweezers at all. And then I found this little eyelash applicator, and I feel like it saved my life. But now they have eyelash tweezers that are specifically made for eyelashes, and I want a pair, but I haven't found a pair that I liked yet. I've found different pairs, but I haven't found any that it's like the ones that I really, really, really want. All right. Beautiful. All right. So while those are drying, we will put on my lip color. And I am going to go in with Jeffree Star Crocodile Tears. And I am going to go in first off with my lip brush. I like to map out my Cupid's bow because I draw my lip on a little larger than my natural line. So all right, right now that is where my natural lip is. All right. So since I have that mapped out roughly, I'm just gonna go balls to the wall. And then I'm just going to dip in to that well there. beautiful. All right, now that I have that on, let those lips dry. Oh my gosh, just beautiful. We are going to go in with Ben Nye Final Seal. Minty. Oh, yay. All right. Well, thank you all for joining me as I painted my face tonight to manifest. I hope you will enjoy trying a similar look or, you know, my favorite look to do in green, which is basically just green shades. I love doing green, but thank you. I'm not gonna probably show you me cleaning up my edges because it's kind of boring, but I may do a little talking while I do it. But I do hope that you enjoyed this tutorial just as much as I enjoyed doing the demonstration. And I hope that you are all living your best life, as well as staying well and healthy in these times of pandemic. And if there is a look that you think that would look awesome for me to attempt to try, because I am open for experimentation. It may not be that great, but I would love to have some ideas of something to try. One thing that I haven't tried yet that I still want to try is doing the masking tape winged eyeshadow look. So that's one thing that I want to try. And now that I have a translucent powder, I want to try a half clown white with natural skin tone. Try one of those looks, whether it be a, you know, vertical half one thing and the other half the other, or whatever. So, or if there's a color look that you want me to try to do a complete color look in, please, you know. But thank you for joining me on this journey, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, and I'm Bellefeuille Siren, hoping that I brought you just as much joy as I try to live my life. Thanks.